Hello everybody and welcome back to the Arclight Gaming Round Robin. This is round 4 of a 21 round split where 21 teams will be playing in an LCS-like split fashion in order to qualify for the finals and be crowned themselves kings of the Arclight Rift. I am Mr. Jester and tonight with me is the ever so fantastic Invisi. Man, it's incredible to have you back with me like on Monday. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling very good, and this match that we've got lined up, after seeing both of these teams play on Monday, I'm very, very excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. For guys, our featured matchup tonight are two teams which we have witnessed play on Monday. They are Alter Ego and the Fluffy Waffles. Alter Ego were able to take a very good game against Animes for Girls in Game 1 and forced Anime for Girls to forfeit in Game 2, winning that in a 2-way series. And then the Fluffy Waffles were absolutely convincing in their matchup against Fear Everything and Rise.
Yeah, and you can see picks and bans are going very, very quickly now. That's actually because these teams did their champion select drafting before we managed to catch them on stream. So this entire pick and ban phase has already been pre-done. So we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think you and I know what the comps are, but the teams both know what each other have picked. So we'll just wait for those to come through. But looking at the bans, fairly standard, although interesting to see a target Graves ban on the list. I believe we did see Fluffy Waffles playing that Graves on Monday. So, you know, clearly done a little bit of research there, and that Graves Thresh lane we saw was... That was a sight to behold. That was a bit scary.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, it was the lane that actually lost since Fluffy Waffles actually ran the Ezreal. I think they ran Triforce Ezreal and we had the whole debacle. I'm like, Blue Ezreal, you're like, no Triforce. I'm like, oh, fine, I'll cry then. And, alright, granted, we're not sure what the team comp is just yet, because again, like you said, these teams had to, firstly, they had to remake because they did have placeholders. And that's why pick and ban phase is just going so damn quickly. But a Varus and Jinx.
That's interesting. And okay, you've got the Alter Ego side as, you know, fairly standard, but this Fluffy Waffles side, I've never seen anything like it. I'm just wondering how much practice they've had on it. To be honest, is that actually going to be a jungle Xerath? I don't even know what's going on right now. I'm just going to wait and see where they actually put these champions, because to me at the moment it just looks like a sort of cheese strat. Are they actually going to go 1-1-2 and then one in the jungle? Or I honestly have no idea what they're going to pull. And, you know, are they going to be building... I would imagine both Varus and Jinx are going to be building AD. We have seen double AD carry comps be quite popular. There was a period a few months ago when Tristana was in her, you know, big popularity hit straight after the Infinity Edge changes, or general AD carry changes. I believe that was patch 4.8. I may be wrong on that. But, you know, a while back now, where we actually saw a lot of mid-lane AD Tristana and double AD carry comps. So I'm imagining that's what they're running, especially since they also have the Xerath. But is that... I don't know if Xerath's going to be able to clear the jungle, but, you know, we've seen Jungle Twisted Fate, so we've seen some pretty odd things. So that is Xerath with Smite, so he is taking the Smite. Whether or not he's going to actually be in the jungle and trying to clear it, I will have to wait and see.
Yeah. Imagine this. Alright, now this is I've seen this happen before, but then again, this is probably because my friends who are bronze and like, oh my god, this is like the next phase thing, and it was completely bad. But what if AP Varus?
Yeah?
Could that work?
It's...
And not for troll, but I was saying, could it actually work?
Well, honestly, I don't think it's that effective. You know, there's a fair amount of burst. So Varus has a decent amount of AP ratios. He's got a 1-to-1 scaling on his ultimate, and he's got an on-hit scaling on his W, as well as a % health scaling when you proc the passive, you know, when you pop the stacks with a different ability. So AP Varus can do a fair amount of burst damage, but most of it's percent health burst damage. So I feel like AP Varus would work okay against Maokai, and you're not going to have too many other high health targets. Jarvan's going to build a fair amount of health, but yeah, AP Varus is kind of like a tank killer, and he also has a lot of AoE damage because, of course, you know, his ult, if the enemy team clumps up around the target of whoever his ult hits, they also take the damage as well as the crowd control. So that can do a fair amount of team-wide damage if the fight is clumped up rather than spread out. And to be fair, this alter ego side is probably going to look to clump. When you see a Jarvan Maokai, that's very indicative of very clumped team fights. Having the Cataclysm, as well as that Vengeful Maelstrom, very, very potent in those kind of clumped up AoE team fights. Speaking of that, you know, that alter ego combo, their team comp. I feel like Azir is actually a very good pick with Jarvan because you can trap people inside the Cataclysm and just have the soldiers either on the outside or the inside of the Cataclysm just hitting everyone in it, and that's going to be quite difficult to deal with. Azir been seeing a big rise in popularity in the past, I want to say, month or two, pretty much in the preseason. You know, it took him a little while after his release. He was buffed on 1 or 2 patches and bug fixed, more importantly. And then all of a sudden people have realized he's actually really strong. His damage is obscene if you can get him into the late game. And he's very, very safe as well. You know, on par with Xerath in terms of how difficult he is to get on top of. So, yeah, that Optimus clearly been practicing his Azir, and we will be going into the loading screen now.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Azir, one of those very long-range, heavy mechanically based champions. It brought a lot of different playstyles to those of the typical mid laners, because a lot of mid laners were skill-based, caster-like, with something like Syndra, Ahri, so those who are very reactionary or quickly based on their skills. But Azir, someone who is heavy on the mechanics, a skill that's mostly noticed by ADCs. So it's good to see a champion like that being designed by Riot. And I like the lineup that it kind of benefits Azir quite a bit. You have Maokai with the Vengeful Maelstrom, like you said, and a Cataclysm, but also the box from Thresh. And these are sort of AoE ultimates that can delay, hinder, or slow them down, or even just reduce damage, and allows Azir's soldiers, his sound soldiers, just free reign on damage on the enemy team. And if we do look on the enemy team, who really is their picks? They have Xerath, who doesn't have a dash or blink or mobile-like ability. Varus, who doesn't have a dash, blink, mobile-like ability. Jinx, the same thing. And Morgana. These champions lack those abilities to escape the Cataclysm. The only way for them to escape is a flash. The only one who can actually get over the wall is Aurelia. And that's the one thing I like about it is it matches Azir as well, because he can use his Emperor's Divide with the Cataclysm, just keep them locked in for quite a while. And forgetting all that, Corki, he will also be doing a lot of AoE damage as well. His missile barrages do AoE damage, his Phosphorus Bomb, and then his Gatling Gun will shred them all to bits as well. So I really like the lineup coming out of it would be Fluffy, no, Alter Ego.
Yeah. Well, speaking along those lines of, you know, can they escape the Cataclysm, we mentioned Azir is one of those kind of play back and play really, really safe champions, and you really need to be able to get on top of him if you want to be able to deal with him in team fights. And who's going to be able to do that on the side of Fluffy Waffles? You've got Jazzanite on that Aurelia is going to be able to do it, but enough about that. We're seeing Madara being caught out.
Yeah, he has to be very careful. There is a Dark Binding, but it does miss narrowly, and so does a Shocking Orb by Vengeance.
That's
luck of the day, or maybe just incredible sidestepping Mad Life plays from Madara. Well, he was a god. On Monday, we saw the godlike hooks and everything, so it's no surprise to actually see godlike plays, but forgetting about that, Squeegee does force the Valkyrie. He will be able to get away, but that's a Valkyrie up for level 1. that could hinder some early lane dominance coming out from the Corki, because Fast Thrust Bomb does do quite a bit of damage if left unchecked. But you're also mentioning Jazzanite on Aurelia, and he would probably be the only one who could get onto Azir. We saw on Monday how comfortable he is on that Aurelia pick. He just dove the hell out of Deluxe in that top lane. Deluxe was playing Vladimir, who control pool, especially if he gets dived upon. Jazza didn't care. He just went in. He went in every single time. He ended up going, I believe it was 10-0, up at around the 11-minute mark. So he was just absolutely dominating. And if he does manage to give off another dominating performance, granted, maybe his team won't be able to help him get into the backline, but he won't even need it. He can just do it himself. But I'm liking what Alter Ego are doing. They're stealing the red camp because it is a Xerath jungle. They're denying him some early, some farm of experience and whatnot.
So we saw the Fluffy Waffles side using their level 1 pressure to try and get some, pressure on the red side jungle of Alter Ego. And as soon as they saw that, Alter Ego reacted. They sent both Jarvan and Maokai into that top side red jungle of Fluffy Waffles, and just sat at that red buff camp, made sure that they were going to be able to take that buff away safely, and that's exactly what they did. So often when you see odd team comps like this, they don't tend to do standard meta starts because level 2 in the bottom lane.
Oh, absolutely. They do get the Dark Mining. The hook does come out. Dark Mining landing on Squidgy, but the flash was used by Sarah. Hunter will be able to get away. Not a lot of actual damage being turned on by onto Alter Ego. So they came out ahead in that trade-off. And it's Sarah, we saw her also on Monday. She was subbed into the second game against Fear Everything and Rise. And the Ezra performance was spot on. It was amazing. Did land the mystic shots as if it was second nature to her. So to see on someone like Jinx, who isn't that mobile until she does generate that passive, it'll be interesting to see what kind of plays happen. The hook does land on Hunter. He gets hooked up. The Flay will follow up. He's taking a lot of damage. Forced to flash away. Squidgy going completely balls deep. He does get the kill. He'll flash away. The Lantern will save his life from the Ignite tick. That's first blood going towards Alter Ego.
Yeah, so very well played there. Madara with those hooks doing a lot of work. Oh, flash hook.
And it does land on Sarah, and that's another kill for Squidgy. We mentioned this back on Monday, and I mentioned this earlier. He is a god with those hooks, and he's proving why he's Mad Life 2.0.
Yeah, very, very well played there. I just want to point out, I think we may be desynced, so if you want to hit the jump to live button, I think I'm a couple of seconds ahead of you. So hopefully we should be able to fix that, because I realized I was calling things before they were happening. Yeah, we saw the power of that Thresh. He's just been landing hook after hook, and those hooks are so dangerous when you land them. But we do see, interestingly, a mid-lane Varus, as we were saying, but he has built the longsword so we will be seeing the double 80 carry comp out from Fluffy Waffles, and he's in trouble.
Yeah, he does get hit by the Flag Drag from General. He also gets ignited, and he will fall down. That's going to be Optimus picking up the kill. And that is the lack of mobility, the lack of those dash-like abilities that some of the mid laners do offer. It provides Jarvan with the smite, with the whole new jungle, with the new jungle items. It allows him to get a smite, the chill smite, which Stalker's Blade being one of the most popular jungle items in the current patch since 4.21. And we're seeing the lack of mobility, the lack of those dash-like abilities, and it's becoming a problem. If they get hooked, they will die. If they get hit by the Flag and Dragon Cataclysm, they will die. This could be very potent for Fluffy Waffles. They need to position very carefully later on in terms of team fights as well.
Yeah, well, they're actually kind of fairly good poke comp in both Xerath and Varus, as well as Hunter with those bindings and shields to stop any potential hooks coming out if he can react to them in time. Just as it hooks a minion. I'm actually interested to know, I'm guessing Combat Air's probably picked after the Azir was shown, because I'm guessing that's most likely a specific counter pick that he's been practicing, but a gank in the bot lane. Yeah, the Flame Chopper's Dark Binding combo of that Wombo Chain CC does land. Madara will fall down, giving away the kill to Hunter though, unfortunately. That's a very nice form of
wombo combo chain CC-like type thing there with what Morgana and Jinx, or even just Jinx into anyone in general, land, like say, the hook, followed by with the flame chompers, gets locked down for a good period of time, and Madara does fall. It was unfortunate that the kill went away to Hunter. It would have been a lot better in the pockets of Sarah in order for her to catch up, because she's starting to fall quite behind, already has that 20 CS deficit in comparison to Squidgy. In the top lane though, Jazza is actually doing quite well for himself yet again. He has that CS lead. We saw again on Monday how dominant his performance is on that Aurelia. It's definitely a very comfortable pick for himself. And he's already winning lane in terms of CS wise.
Yeah, so doing quite well on that Aurelia and trading quite well. You know, Aurelia, fairly good matchup into Maokai. That passive Ionian Fervor really reduces a lot of what Maokai offers in terms of that crowd control. And the true damage from Hit and Style going to go straight through that Vengeful Maelstrom damage reduction and not really care about that. And General being very, very aggressive, knowing that Xerath, not a very strong jungler, and really punishing Vengeance for that pick, and he's found him again.
Yeah, definitely gets hit by a flag and drag as well, but Combat as he's around to assist him. That is the ultimate from Varus as well. Force the flash away from General. The Arcana Post will not do enough damage. Vengeance is forced to flash away. He will live, saving his life, but barely. And Vengeance is taking a bit of his own medicine. On Monday, he was constantly living in the jungle of Deluxe, of Fear Everything and Rise, and now it's also in the same way. He's getting what his just deserts. General now living in his jungle.
Yeah, so General just recognizing the power disparity and the fact that Xerath can't really fight Jarvan in a close situation. Xerath as a champion really just relies on being really, really far away from everyone and just throwing out those Arcano Pulses, throwing out his other abilities to be able to do some long-range damage and just not being engaged on. As a jungler, you don't really have that option. You're forced to sit there and hit camps, and the jungle itself just... It makes that sit-back playstyle so much more difficult just because of how confined the space it is. And so General, knowing he's a lot stronger in that situation, just pressuring as much as he possibly can. Yeah.
Absolutely, that is a very good strategy. Hunter taking a lot of damage, the hook just misses. Madara has always been landing at the right direction. Sometimes they do drop just short. But the fact that he always gets in the right direction is very interesting to see, especially on Monday when he did manage to get the right direction of... He predicted the LeBlanc distortion, which is what not a lot of people tend to do, but he does land another hook. And unfortunately, Hunter wasn't able to react in time for the Black Shield, but the Great Flame Chompers will save Sarah's life barely. No! The Ignite Tick does pick her off, and Madara gets a kill for himself after a well-placed hook.
Yeah, so just this bottom lane really snowballing out of control at this point for Alter Ego. Madara and Squidgy, particularly Madara with those death sentences, really making plays in that lane. Little bit of a trade in the top lane.
Yeah, absolutely. The Vengeful Maelstrom does come away. Jazza will simply not fight back, but now he's sent his sights back up onto Audley, knowing that it's not the good time to engage when that Vengeful Maelstrom is up. Does reduce damage in that area. So a very good decision coming out from Jazza. He's aware and knowledge of the Aurelia matchup based on a lot of champions. Actually quite fascinating. He knows exactly when and when not to engage. A lot of times people don't tend to show their champion knowledge and just simply go, I play aggressive, I'll play aggressive. But Jazza Knight, he knows the way of Aurelia, and it's always very great to watch those who have mastered a specific champion. And speaking of that, he does get engaged by Ollie. Vengeful Master does come on, but Jazza will simply be able to get away. The minions will soak up that little sprout, and Jazza will live to see another day.
We do have Madara coming into this mid lane. They're looking to take some of that pressure that they've managed to accrue in the bot lane and turn it into somewhere objectives elsewhere on the map. So they're really looking to pressure this mid tower right now. And potentially, are they looking towards Dragon? No, it doesn't look like it.
It could be. Unfortunately, the wards are not really in their favor. We do see one of those vision wards, well, the sight wards, sorry, That's currently where if you look on the minimap, the little yellow triangle where the scuttle crab is, there's a ward right there from Fluffy. So they would have some sort of knowledge if Alter Ego were going to do a dragon, so I don't think they'll be able to do it just yet. Jazza going aggressively again onto Oddly, but that Vengeful Maelstrom is just going to be the saving grace. No matter what Jazza does, he won't be able to pick up a kill. I think he might need to look for at least a rotation-like kill, maybe just a teleport gank bot lane to get the kill.
Yeah, and now that Oddly has that Catalyst the Protector, he's really just eating through any trades that are happening. Ooh, threading the needle in the bottom lane. But I'm really interested to see how this Fluffy Waffles team transitions into the mid to late game. They've been doing kind of... their mid and bottom lane haven't been... Oh, Sarah gets hooked.
Gets hooked yet again. He's forced to flash away. Squidgy just simply goes balls deep. He Valkyries in, flashes away. Gets hit by the ultimate from Hunter, but that's not going to be enough. And Squidgy is now 301, 107 CS. Absolutely ripping face this game.
Yeah, so Marta are just landing hook after hook after hook. And it's just winning the lane at this point. And... they're going to have a lot of trouble, this Fluffy Waffles team, transitioning into that mid to late game, because they're going to have to deal with such a fed Corki. He is going to have his Trinity Force when he next goes back, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him immediately go to mid lane and try and put some pressure there, push down that tower. You know, Azir and Corki are both very potent tower pushers. Azir with that Arise, his W, being able to use it on towers for some damage. Oh, another hook.
Madara, I believe that was a blind hook landing onto Vengeance. He does get locked up by the Flame Chompers as well, and the Super Mega Deathrock will secure the kill. The Cataclysm will avenge Madara though, but here comes Oddly. He does teleport in, gets onto Vengeance, picks up the kill. Sarah will fall. No! He lives with just a bit of health. Jazzer is now the main target, and they will back away. Alter Ego come out ahead of that 2-for-1 exchange, only dropping a support.
Yeah, so very well played there. They're a lot better in these kind of confined spaces. So forcing their way into the jungle and picking fights in the jungle is where this Alter Ego team comp is at its strongest. And Combat Ez is in trouble.
There is a Chains of Corruption. He flashes away, very wary of what those Sand Soldiers can do. They actually do quite a lot of damage. I believe Optimus has been leveling that up. No, he's gone for the Shifting Sands, I believe is his Q first. So
yeah, so Azir tends to max his Q first, just because his soldiers, the damage on his soldiers doesn't actually scale off the rank on his W. So all maxing that W does is decrease the cooldown or the recharge time on the soldiers. So Azir tends to max that Q first because it allows him to reposition his soldiers more often. It lowers the cooldown on that, and it also does more damage. So it's a little bit of a burst combo. And this bottom tower is definitely going down.
It definitely, does give away the first tower of the game, going towards Alter Ego. And yeah, it is a very good thing what Azir is to do. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Oddly taking a lot of damage from Jazzanite. Those Transcendent Blades actually quite do a lot of damage. Oddly not respecting it. He does get slowed down, but the turnaround Arcane Smash will hinder him away. And it's just going to be the battle of the top lanes. They're both tanky enough to survive the trades off. Maokai will be able to sustain from it with his passive. Jazzanite, obviously, with his 10 style. They're just going to be able to go back and forth. No one will be able to get a kill unless someone makes a big drastic mistake. Jazzanite just jumping around left, right with the passive, the Q of Aurelia. And we also see Alter Ego pushing up onto the mid lane, and now they're hitting onto that tower. It's taking quite a lot of damage. Vengeance tried to use his ultimate to kill off the minions, but it's not going to be enough, and that tower will fall down. 2 turrets for Alter Ego, already 5k gold lead ahead in 15 minutes in.
Yeah, so they're really starting to push the advantage they've accrued so far in this early game. You know, taking 2 towers, as you mentioned, it was a good rotation actually, you know, being able to rotate straight to that mid tower after the bottom one fell and pick that one up for themselves very quickly. So they will actually have a good amount of gold to shop on when they get back, when they next go back. So Squidgy and Madara have just done that, so they've picked themselves up some good items. Is that a... Oh, wow, that's a very early Elixir of Wrath coming out from Squidgy there.
I was gonna mention the exact same thing. That's a I've seen them come out later on of the game, like come like say 35 to 40 minutes into game. Not when you're 16 minutes in. I think they really want to go into this mid game and solidify their lead. They just want to push on the fact that Corki has got Triforce. He's hit his spike. His beginning of his damage potential because of the Triforce buy. We're just going to take complete control of this game. That's what I get the message coming out from that Elixir of Wrath.
Yeah, so it is a really big power spike right now. We used to see some interesting strategies where people would go for very early elixirs, like level 1, 2, or 3, and try and get a very high-risk, high-reward play and have that elixir turn that in their advantage. Of course, you can't actually buy these elixirs until you hit level 9 now, so this is pretty much the earliest he was able to buy it. Like you mentioned, it is just a big power spike right now, so they really are wanting to snowball this game as quickly as possible. And the other thing is, I'm trying to wonder why exactly he would choose to buy that Elixir of Wrath. The main thing it does give is a kind of lifesteal-like effect, so it gives health back on any physical damage you deal, so either auto attacks or physical abilities. With Corki though, Corki not the best AD carry user of an Elixir of Wrath just because his abilities tend to do magic damage, the Phosphorus Bomb and the missiles.
I would agree with, say, the Elixir of Sorcery, that's the magic one.
Yeah,
because if you can weave in the Phosphorus Bomb plus the Missile Barrage, with your auto attacks, the Elixir of Sorcery does provide true damage as well. Wouldn't that have been a better option?
That's true, although I feel like he's probably just buying it because he wants lifesteal and doesn't want to buy a Vampiric Scepter. That's the main reason I can think of, at least. So, you know, it provides a good amount. 10%'s a fair amount at this stage in the game, especially when it applies on his Gatling gun, which also deals physical damage. So, you know, that's a decent amount of lifesteal for this point in the game. And you can see he hasn't actually popped it yet because he's going to wait to get into a fight. So
and combat gets completely obliterated, gets caught out, the Cataclysm trapping him in. And that's what we mentioned, the whole lack of mobility-like abilities that will be a hindrance for Fluffy Waffles, and now they do lose the second turret of that mid lane, but Hunter gets hooked. Will they be able to capitalize on that? It doesn't seem to be the case. Mana took a lot of return damage, and now they set their sights up towards top lane tier 1 turret. One thing I would like to mention, I like what Alter Ego did. They timed the Scuttle Crab perfectly. So Dragon was about to spawn at 1 minute and 20 seconds. Around minute 20, minute 15, and then they started the Scuttle Crab. So it would be up the time when Dragon spawns.
Yeah, so, the Scuttle Crab actually only lasts 75 seconds, so that'll be going down fairly shortly, but they've just been rotating all around this map, really using this advantage that they've got right now and trying to take as many objectives as they can.
And General getting locked up himself. That's the ultimate duo combination coming out from Combat and Vengeance. Lock them in with the Chains of Corruption, allows Vengeance to snipe them down precisely, just like what a sniper would love. And General falls giving away a kill, but 2 ultimates for just 1 guy who's already below half health. Not sure if that's actually worth trade. If Vengeance does lose his life, it's definitely not worth trade. Combat's now the next target, a great Azir Sec play. I've been meaning to say that for a very long time. And now Screechy will fall to Jazza, the Optimus with the Azir Sec play. Boy, I've never thought I would see that happen yet.
Oh, well, yeah, it's one of the tricks that Azir does have up his sleeve, you know, with his ultimate. So a little nice play there. Getting a little bit over-aggressive trying to check those backs, and unfortunately Fluffy Waffles do pay for that with a couple more deaths. So, but they did actually manage to pick up a return kill, which is nice. But this dragon has now respawned, and Alter Ego are ready to take it. In fact, it looks like they're trying to bait in Hunter.
Yeah, they have got vision of Hunter. The hook lands, but the Great Black Shield as well will not get that whole dragon effect. So Hunter will be able to get away. They are aware of that the dragon is in motion, Jazza, though, is in top lane, but bear in mind he does not have teleport. Now Hunter does manage a beautiful black shield. It negates both the flay and the flag and drag, but the snipe from the death sentence picks up the kill. And Madara's second kill of the game. He's been very on point with those death sentences, and this should be a free dragon if everything goes in Alter Ego's way.
That's the second clutch flash death sentence I've seen this game at least. Has he landed a third? I don't know. I've seen at least two, and yeah, this game is getting very out of hand. Alter Ego having a very commanding league, and this will be their second dragon of the game. And they're just going to use that to continue pushing down these turrets, now with an extra 15% bonus tower damage.
Yeah, now they set the sides up onto Vengeance. He does manage to flash away. The hook just misses. Wasn't in range enough. The Flame Choppers are forcing Alter Ego to take another route in the jungle, so it's actually well-placed Flame Choppers. It does delay Alter Ego trying to get up onto this tier 2 turret, but the Super Mega Death Rocket Sarah snipes down General. He's now the boss. Mardo will fall down. No, he just lives. Just is taking a lot of damage. In fact, Sarah picks up a double kill. Going to get a triple. No, she doesn't. Squidgy ends her reign before it even begins. Now Hunter and coming from behind. Chains of Corruption does allow Optimus to fall. That's Combat picking up the kill, but he's taking a lot of damage. He makes a double kill. He's turning this around, but he will fall down to Ollie, and that's a 4-for-5 exchange in favor of Alter Ego. But Fluffy, 4-for-5, that's actually a very good trade for him.
Yeah, that's not too bad. You know, that being this far behind, going 4-for-5, like being able to get 4 kills in a team fight, they fought that really well, and we saw some of the elements of their team comp coming into fruition there. They have a lot of long-range damage, and the Chains of Corruption from Combat Ez can really help to set that up. So Combat Ez, with those Chains of Corruption, obviously it's an AoE snare on the team if you can get it in the right spot and force the enemy team to kind of all take that that's kind of spread crowd control. I don't know the best way to describe it, but I think you all know what I mean. And then they've got, you know, Vengeance with a fair amount of damage, you know, on that jungle Xerath. And we also have the Super Mega Death Rocket coming out from Sarah, as well as those Switcheroo rockets. So their team comp aim really is to just sit in the back and fire out as much long-range damage as they can while the enemy team is locked down.
Yeah, I can totally see that with the Chains of Corruption and also the Soul Shackles, just that constant AoE, just locking everybody down for a long period of time. It allows Jazzanite to get into the backline, and no one will be able to really peel for them if they're snared constantly and then stunned. It's actually a good combo, the Varus and Morgana ultimate, in their respective fields. And I can understand, I guess, why the picks really did come out. If Jarvan does go in, you get the Chains of Corruptions out onto him, because Maokai will follow up, and basically Squidgy, he does play aggressive. He uses the Valkyrie very aggressively. I've yet to see him use it defensively, to be honest. So I could see the ultimates coming into fruition, like the Varus pick and whatnot, but I don't know if it's just working to what they envision it to be. In fact, speaking of Varus, was nearly caught out, but Jazzna is forced to flash away. He's taking a lot of damage, but the hook again! Madara is on point with that Squidgy. He ends up proving me wrong. He uses the Valkyrie defensively for once, and that's going to be Jazza falling down. Another kill going towards Alter Ego.
Yeah, and they now have this, oh gosh, Madara with another hook. Vengeance is in trouble. Not going to go down, but doing so much damage. Optimus, that was like, what, WQW? Did we get Death Rocket? Wow, just missing. And I was thinking they were going to use that tower from the Azir passive to try and put up a siege, but looks like they're just going to go and take this top tower, which is pretty undefendable at this point.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to just be a free turret for them. They're doing a lot of damage. That second buff from Dragon definitely going to help them with those tower shreds. One thing I do like is the Madara Azir type like combo. So Madara landed Death Sentence hook, keeping that person locked in. Enough for Azir to get his soldier up, Conquering Sands into him to get the slow damage and plus a few auto attacks. And that's what we saw in Vengeance. He got hooked, and then Azir just got his soldier in to hit twice, and Vengeance was down below half health. And if that's like just a poke only like strategy, that could be very fatal, especially if it lands on someone like Sarah, because then it can turn from poke into hold on, we just dropped in way below half health. I'm just going to follow up on this hook and go completely balls deep.
Yeah, and that's what Azir is really, really strong at doing. And you see he's now 7-1-3. Optimus is just doing so much work with that. You know, Morellonomicon Death Cap already. How much AP does he have exactly? That's already 400 AP at 25 minutes into the game. So he's just doing obscene amounts of damage. And honestly, I feel as though, you know, Fluffy Waffles, their team comp actually does it better. If you look purely at the team comps, it's just because Alter Ego is so far ahead that Optimus he's pretty much as much of a threat as the entire poke lineup from Fluffy Waffles is right now.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The rest of Alter Ego were able to take the blue buff for themselves, denying Xerath any form of blue, and I think he was aware that he's going to be denied those big, like, those buffs. And that's why he went for the Tear of the Gods very early on. Has got that maxed out into the Seraph's Embrace for himself there. So, that was a good judgment call from Vengeance.
So,
and
one thing... yeah?
Yeah, go what you were saying.
Well, I was just going to pick up on with Vengeance's build. So you see he's built the Morellonomicon. One thing we've seen that's a lot of mid laners these days with the nerf to the Athene's Unholy Grail, we've seen a lot of them switching over to that Morellonomicon as their standard item. However, because... So, Athene's was changed... oh gosh, he's been caught out.
Yeah, Hunter does get hit by Death, and so does Jasnite. He will fall down. The Chain of Corruption does land, and it will be able to lock up only 2 people. That was oddly and generous. It wasn't that good. The Xerath ult is coming down. Will he be able to stop him? Optus, no, he does have enough health to survive. And look and behold, the treasure and the reward for such a good fight is another dragon. That'll be the 3rd stack going safely to Alter Ego.
Yeah, so a very good fight there. Just using... You can see they've accrued so much vision control in the jungle of Fluffy Waffles that they just can't walk through it right now. And we saw Hunter, you know, he was trying to go around towards that dragon and get a little bit of that vision control back, but, you know, you can't do that alone. You just get caught out and blown up, and that's exactly what happened there. But going back to my point earlier, so the changes happened. The old Athene's Unholy Grail, that was the passive... it increased mana regeneration, and it was a percentage of however much mana regeneration you had. So it scaled off other mana regeneration items. The new Athene's passive, it now actually restores a percentage of your missing mana, which means that it actually is more effective the bigger your total mana pool is. So if you're going to go for a Tear of the Goddess build, like Vengeance has this game, it actually makes the Athene's Unholy Grail a much more efficient pickup than the Morellonomicon, simply because it actually gives you more mana regeneration based off your total mana, or more precisely, your missing mana, and he's going to have kind of a greater amount of missing mana this game. And that Gatling gun's getting a little bit annoying, so it's good to see the pause is resuming now.
Yeah, absolutely. The Missile Barrage also was frustrating me with the Triforce. It wouldn't just go back to, like, you know when it was the little clock thing, and so
Right.
like the clock thing when you use a Triforce saying, all right, the Sheen proc is ready to use a second time.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
bugging for me. It was just there annoying. Like, come on, reset
that
already.
A lot during pauses.
Yeah.
Cooldowns. I don't know exactly how it works. It'd be some sort of kind of coding issue, and it's like something spaghetti code. Oh gosh, we've got a fight in the jungle.
And Hunter yet again gets hooked by Death Sentence, but the rest of the team weren't really there. Optimus and Squidgy were just not in range to engage on that, since Azir was in base and Squidgy, well, tier 2 of the mid lane. But the rest of the team were around. In fact, it did burn out Jazz's teleport.
Yeah, so Jasonite using his teleport defensively there, basically just preventing any sort of engage there. So Alter Ego, like, that teleport was never intended to go through. It was basically saying, if you die this, I will be here and I will stop you. And so Alter Ego smartly back off, and Jasonite smartly cancels the teleport to save a little bit of the cooldown. But unfortunately, it does mean that he now has to come up and rejoin his team by walking, and Oddly is now the one that is allowed to split push with his teleport available.
Yeah, he does have his teleport, so if there was a fight to ever occur, he can simply just teleport onto a minion, or one of my favorite strategies, teleport on the flag of Jarvan. So if Jarvan does go in for the Cataclysm into the flag and drag, the flag will most likely be in the middle of the enemy. Perfect place to teleport for someone like Maokai. It's been done before, and it's really cheesy and funny. And we see Optimus clearing out the Baron area, so most likely Baron might be the next objective in the sights of Alter Ego. They most likely can do it. They are strong enough. They're 20 to 8 in kills, already have 9k gold lead, 5-2 in turrets, 3 dragon stacks in comparison to 0 on the side of Fluffy. And speaking of Baron, they're actually doing it.
Yeah, so you just see so much vision control. Wow, Squidgy taking quite low there, but you just see the amount of vision control they've got. They know that this is fairly safe to do, although... Ooh, good zoning there from the soldiers of Optimus. But...
Yeah, Oddly doing his best to actually zone out the rest of Fluffy. He's just solo doing this like Rambo. Squidgy taking damage slow. Can he get sniped? He's dodged almost all of Vengeance's ultimate. Oddly was able to interrupt it. He's soaking up like what a true tank can do. He will not be forgotten. In fact, he did the best he could. He was a legendary tank. And the rest of Alter Ego are able to capitalize on his only losing Madara so far. Everyone's blinking red in the side of Oddly in general, and a pause coming out. Probably at the worst time ever. But we see blinking red from Oddly, from General, even Madara falls. On the side of Fluffy, it's only Jazza who's blinking red. We see on my screen, Optimus and Squidgy have set their sights up onto Sarah. But what I'm trying to get at is that Fluffy are not out of this fight just yet. They're able to get 2 of the tanks exceptionally to the point that they're like probably below in double digits of health. And
yeah.
And so like they could easily turn around the fights if they were able to focus their damage correctly. What seems to be the problem?
So, yeah, that was one heck of a fight there. I think actually one of the biggest unsung factors was that little skirmish between Sarah and Squidgy we saw in the middle lane about 30 seconds before that happened, which meant that both of them were actually very low coming into that fight. We saw Vengeance actually trying to snipe off Squidgy immediately as that fight started, and Oddly, as you mentioned, doing a very good job of being very disruptive in that backline, getting in with that Vengeful Maelstrom and making sure he interrupted that Ride of the Arcane to save Squidgy. And the chase will just continue now.
Yeah, Sarah will be able to get away, so will Jazza. And it was a 2-for-1 exchange in the end, going in favor of Alter Ego yet again. But for a team that's so ahead in terms of kills, in terms of objectives, most of the time when they are going for these big team fights, you wouldn't say a 2-for-1 exchange. You're thinking maybe at least a 3-for-1 or a 4-for-1 because they're so ahead. Could this be the fact that they're actually not winning a lot or not profiting a lot from these team fights start to snowball back into Fluffy's favor?
I think Fluffy Waffles are just playing their comp fairly well. They're just staying back and making it very, very difficult to be engaged on. You know, when we see them do get engaged on, it's General with an EQR, or Oddly with going very, very deep with a Vengeful Maelstrom, and just the rest of their team aren't there for a follow-up because they're having to go so far in to be able to catch out this Fluffy Waffles side, and that's really what their team comp is excelling at.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and they are able to utilize the form of disengage, if anything, or at least hinder the movement and mobility from Alter Ego with the Chains of Corruption and Soul Shackles. Now,
another thing, yeah?
Yeah, you were saying?
Well, I was just going to say another thing to mention in that previous fight is they had actually been doing Baron for a fair while, so they had taken a fair amount of damage from that objective before that fight even started.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But for Alter Ego, they've managed to take out 5 of the turrets. Obviously, the last remaining outer turret is the tier 2 turret of the bot lane. It seems though like it's slowed down. The pace of the game has slowed down drastically. It was a massive high, especially coming into that 10-minute mark. Corki was big. He got the Elixir of Wrath. They were just on fire. They were taking towers left, right, center, taking kills by the... just taking the bull by the horns and just dominating the game. And now it's not been pushed to a standstill, but it's definitely slowed down. The wave clear from the likes of Varus's Piercing Arrow, Xerath's Arcano Pulse, they're able to clear waves so quickly that the siege potential from Alter Ego isn't awfully that high. If you really look at who they have to be able to hit the turrets, Corki doesn't have the biggest of ranges, I believe, in Azir. They don't have the highest of ranges.
No, so Corki's is 550 standard for 80 carries. I'm not sure Azir's exactly, but it's fairly small on that Arise, that W. So, you know, even though they have a good amount of tower damage, against a comp like this with such high wave clear, as you were saying, it's just very, very hard to siege. And they got the first two rings of towers just through superior map control and map rotations, so able to basically get to those towers before Fluffy Waffles were ready to defend them. Against base towers, it's a lot harder to do that because they're just so close together to each other that, and as long as you can kind of keep minion waves, you know, even to the middle of the lane, or even not quite to the middle of the lane, just to kind of halfway up towards the jungle, can just not have them kind of snuck away from underneath you. And Fluffy Waffles, that's basically what they're doing. They're just holding up their towers right now, and every time Alter Ego try to go for an objective, they just try and use their poke damage to discourage that. So right now, basically Alter Ego just have to constantly keep taking dragons as they have been doing, and they are now on 4 stacks, so one more they will hit 5, and that will be their cue to really make a push to end this game, because right now it's just very, very difficult for them to do that against this Fluffy Waffles team comp.
Yeah, absolutely, and with that 4 stack, they will be able to clear the minions quite quicker because of the increased damage, and if anything, do more damage to Baron. If they do get the 5 stack, they will be able to unlock their Super Saiyan powers, and just basically can just, I guess, run into the base and not care about such towers or anything, and just absolutely go completely aggressive and ham mode and dive. Right now, we are seeing that Squidgy has moved to the top lane to get that free farm, but Hunter will get locked up. A greatly placed Cataclysm was able to trap Hunter between the wall of the red buff and the Cataclysm wall. You know, in the bot lane, Ollie is engaging onto Jazz. Jazz is actually coming out ahead in this trade fight. The E10 style true damage is doing quite a bit, and Oddly is not favoring in this matchup. He's losing quite badly. The E10 style proving to be the stronger of the damages. In fact, it is true damage, so it's no given there. And that could be quite fatal if Jazzer is able to 1v1 Oddly. Who will be able to stop Jazzer from slip pushing now?
Yeah, Maokai definitely not known for his damage in the late game, and Aurelia are very, very potent duelists, so if these two do go one-on-one at this stage in the game, Jazzer Knight will take it pretty much every time. Vengeance is in trouble. Yeah,
he gets hooked by a great flash, dodging the flay. It will be able to be the end of him. Squidgy snipes him with the missile barrage, and that's going to be the 24th of the kill of the game, going towards Alter Ego, the 7th. For Squidgy, and Hunter taking so low from Optimus.
That was 3 hits. Optimus is just doing ridiculous damage right now. 9, 1, and 7. He's got 4 items already.
Yeah.
He's... like, we talked about late game Azir before. This is late game Azir. He's so difficult to jump on and to catch out because of his range, and his damage, if he can get it off, is just so obscene. And Fluffy Waffles really good. I feel like their team comp does actually do okay against Azir because they can kind of... Oh no, they're in trouble.
Madara channeling in his inner Superman was trying to fly in for the rescue, but no, it didn't really work out. I always liked seeing the whole Thresh Morgana when he hooks onto someone that's been black shielded and they're able to walk away and he just presses Q again. It's like he's flying in like Superman. It's always a fun to watch. type thing. We're seeing oddly split pushing in the bot lane. It's actually doing quite well because of the Baron buff. It's enhancing the minions while the rest of the team are pushing onto the top inhibitor turret that will fall down. I really like this strategy, the 4-1 split push, like from team comps. Oddly is able to do it. He's just simply being there to enhance the minions' damage to get those turrets. But also, if a fight does break loose, he can simply teleport in. And now Ultringer are onto the inhibitor. Squidgy got hit by the Dark Binding, and he gets sniped by Sarah! Oh my gosh, the snipes are coming out from Fluffy. Everyone is solo. Jasmine picks up the kill on the Optimus. The chase is on. Oddly does take the lantern to safety. But look at that. How Smarter is flashing red. General flashing red. It's only Oddly who's healthy. What on earth just happened?
Yeah, that was the long-range poke that we were talking about. We saw, you know, what was it? Dark Binding into Shocking Orb. I think it was Vengeance just landing a few... Yeah, Dark Binding into Vengeance, doing a bunch of stuff into Shocking Orb, into Piercing Arrow, into Super Mega Death Rocket. It's just so much long-range poke that... and so much long-range crowd control. But unfortunately, they did only manage to get 2 kills for themselves, so they'll only be able to get 1 tower. But, you know... fortunately, their dragon is up actually in 15 seconds, so I'm not sure if they have the timer on it, but they will be looking to try and pick that one up.
And I'm confused. I might have a spectator's bug because to me the Banshee's Veil is up.
Yes, no, that is a spectator's bug.
Yeah, because the hook somehow landed and it looked as to me those Banshee's Veil was up, so I was questioning that. But this dragon is huge.
Look at the cooldown on the item screen of the Banshee's Veil is the best way to tell.
Yeah, definitely. So this dragon is definitely huge. It will basically dictate the game, and that's it. There's the 5th stack. They are in Super Saiyan mode right now, and the chase is on. We get a flash coming out from... That was Madara. He's just flashing in. Sarah gets locked in. Ollie will be able to deal with her right then and there. We'll get the kill. Takes the lantern to join the team as well. And now the Super Saiyans that is Ultringer are pushing under the bot lane.
Yeah, so they do manage to pick up themselves that 5th dragon of the game, and this could very much be a game ender. You know, it's kind of the objective of the Season 5 changes is that it gives teams like this, you know, when you're facing up against a comp like Fluffy Waffles have built that's very, very difficult to end games against, it gives you an option to end the game. So Fluffy Waffles, they knew the importance of that dragon, but they were just not strong enough to fight for it, and unfortunately it gets taken out from underneath them.
Oh, and a good...
in trouble.
But it was a good Zhonya's, but it was not enough. It was inevitably left to Doom, and he falls down, and the death time was actually quite large at 61 seconds. The Noxus Mahanta going so deep! His Soul Shackles will be interrupted because everyone does manage to get out of range, and Jazz is leading the charge. He gets knocked back the Cataclysm turnaround. That's going to be a double kill in favor of Ultringer. 1 for the General, 1 for Squidgy. But Vengeance will avenge his fallen mate, seeking vengeance for sure. Living up to his name. Gosh, that took forever. And he gets a kill for his team. A 2-for-2 exchange. Basically, if you will, in favor of Fluffy. Since they are the team that's behind and going even in this fight is quite good for them.
But they did lose several structures in their base, and you know that's pretty much all they have left in this game. Is, you know, if their team comp is very good at defending their base, but if they have no base to defend, then what can they do? You know, having that bottom inhibitor fall, it was. I almost want to say it was inevitable, given that Alter Ego did have the 5 stacks of Dragon as well as the Baron buff. But it's just. Yeah, it's these kind of game-ending objectives, neutral objectives that we see, that they're just so powerful that this Fluffy Waffles team, they got too far behind in the early game, and they lost a bit too much map control. And even though their comp could kind of stall out for a while, these neutral buffs get the better of them in the end.
Absolutely, and I just want to highlight something that piqued my interest, and I can kind of agree. Stinger on Maokai.
Yep.
I like it.
Right. I saw he was actually sitting on that item a while ago, and he hasn't actually upgraded it. I'm wondering whether he goes into a Nash's Tooth or a Zephyr. I honestly have no idea what that item is doing.
And we're seeing, though, Alter Ego will take that inhibitor, but Vengeance's ultimates have been heavily focused on Optimus, specifically just targeting Oddly. Does get hit by the Dark Binding. His Guardian Angel will be popped. Jazza now in the middle of the frame. Maro went deep. The Soul Shackles has been used as well. A lot of damage coming out from Alter Ego. Everyone on Fluffy is quite low, but also in Alter Ego's way, they are flashing red. The fight is actually quite close. In fact, it's turning in favor of Alter Ego. They're forcing the flash. Vengeance gets away. In fact, no, he does fall, and Sarah is the only one alive, and she will not be able to do anything. This is GG. Alter Ego take game 1 in its best of 3.
Yeah, very, very well played there. They had a very, very strong early game and transitioned into a good kind of early mid game, but come the mid to late game, they looked a little bit shaky, but managing to use that advantage they'd accrued in the early game to carry them through into that. Very, very well played.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite a very, I wouldn't say convincing game. They were definitely had the lead from the get-go, and then the lead started to snowball, obviously from the beginning, into what was a very solid mid-game. But then it started to slow down towards around the 30-minute mark, where it went in kind of, well, Fluffy were able to slow it down, slowly build a comeback, but the lead from earlier was just too much for Fluffy Waffles to handle, and it seemed as though Alter Ego are definitely in the driver's seat going into Game 2. Guys, we will take a 5-minute quick break whilst we get ready for Game 2, so don't leave anywhere just yet. I am Mr. Jester and Invisiman. Thank you for having you tonight. I will see you guys in roughly 5 minutes.
wake up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Arclight Gaming Round 4. If you're just joining us tonight, well, you already missed out on an incredible Game 1 between two behemoth of teams. Both are very solid teams in this round robin already, and they are Alter Ego and Fluffy Waffles. Both teams haven't lost a round at all, so they've already gone 3-0 in rounds. But already, coming out from the gates, Alter Ego took a commanding lead, and already showing basically everybody what a threat they are in this competition. Now tonight, unfortunately, we had to change co-casters. So with me tonight now is Harry Surf. Harry, man, how have you been?
Well, I was absolutely fantastic until now. What do you mean, unfortunately?
Oh,
Unfortunately, you had to change casters.
Crap, we might need to see marriage.
Great and all, but come on.
We might need to see a marriage counselor right now, guys. But we're now entering into the champion pick and ban phase, and I do believe on the side of Alter Ego they might have to use placeholder picks. Now, for those who are unsure of what placeholder picks are, they are basically if you don't own a champion, like a lot of people can't own every single champion in the game since there's so much. And so, if you don't own a specific champion, but you want to play that champion, you might pick, for instance, we've picked Cogmore, but he's meant to represent LeBlanc, for instance, if you don't own LeBlanc. So we might see a placeholder pick coming out from Alter Ego, and if that's the case, we'll just simply remake the lobby, but all the picks will be exact same, and we'll let you know when it's been happened. But so far, in the bans, Nah being banned, Rek'Sai being banned, no surprise right there, Rek'Sai, an absolute behemoth. 77% ban rate in solo queue, so there's a reason why she is constantly banned. And Lysandra and Cassidy, not so surprising. I don't think Alter Ego want to deal with the likes of Lysandra or Cassidy, both very strong AP. And the Azir has been banned. That's a respect ban to Optimus. We saw last game just how much of a threat he was with that Azir pick. And I'm not surprised that it was banned through. It got banned.
He did get banned, yes. Even though I do love Azir, and I did actually watch the last game, and the last part of it, and he was really strong. Got to be said, he was really strong, and the Rek'Sai coming out, really big ban rate, really strong champion, and was there on Aurelia in the last game?
Yeah, the Aurelia was banned off away from Jazza. Now Jazza was not as convincing in terms of Monday when he did play against Fear Everything and Rise. He still had some form of a presence in this game. He was able to actually 1v1 oddly, came into later games in the bot lane just sort of bruting him away. And if anything, Aurelia was just basically just constantly diving in, so they don't want to deal with that threat. It is a strong pick, a very comfortable pick for Jazza, so having it banned outright is a solid idea. And again, the Thresh for Madara. Last game, he was on point with hooks. He was a god with those hooks. Mad Life 2.0, I believe. And Squidgy on Graves. Not sure if we've seen him play the Graves before. I'm trying to recall back against Animates for Girls. Not too certain, but I do like the Graves pick coming out from Alter Ego. He's a solid champion. What do you reckon, man?
Yeah, I really love Graves' ability. He doesn't need to build any attack speed to be strong, because he can just go flat attack damage, getting out the Bloodthirst, picking up the Infinity Edge, all these really strong attack damage items without the need to really get any attack speed, because he's got that jump, and because his Q and his ultimate do so much damage together, that's really all he needs in lane to poke. He doesn't really need to run up and just kind of start shooting at them, trying to duel them like that. He just needs to jump up, give him a poke, give him a couple of shots from his already gained attack speed, and just take him out. Although, I do think was wise to pick up the Thresh pick first, because he is a really highly banned and picked champion. But picking up the entire lane as your first picks can be really risky, because they can just go for some kind of counter pick down in the bottom lane and try to counter pick your champions from that bot lane. So they could be in a bit of trouble, but doesn't really look like it. With an Ezreal, it's kind of iffy. I mean, he can get out of the way of the ultimate, but it's not really the absolute strongest pickup that he could have gone. But if he's put him with that champion, then he can do.
I definitely, and we have to also mention that Sarah has subbed out of this game for Fluffy Waffles. So Fluffy Cow will come back into the lineup for this second matchup. We did see him in Game 1 against Fear Everything Arise, and he did also play the Ezreal, and he was absolutely a monster. And now the Rumble's being locked in. A very interesting team comp coming out of Fluffy Waffles. Could that be potentially either a mid-Jarvan or a mid-Pantheon?
I am thinking that there are so many things that could be going on here. I'm gonna say it's definitely gonna be Rumble top, but then we could have J4 in the jungle, or we could have Pantheon in the jungle, and then Pantheon could be mid, Annie could be mid. We could even see a Jarvan support or Pantheon support, because they're all things that people have kind of seen before, where you do have Pantheon playing in the support role, where you do see Jarvan playing in the support role. So, yeah, well, it does look like they've swapped it down there now. So, that has been they quit there. So it looks like maybe someone didn't have one of the champions they wanted to get, and they just
so that is going to be a placeholder pick, and that Nunu was meant to be Syndra. So it is a placeholder pick, and we've just got confirmation from that. So the picks are going to go through the exact same thing. Bans, well, hopefully they do ban out the same guys once again. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as fun. So the bans are coming about straight away, and for those who were just wondering what just occurred, that was the placeholder pick I was mentioning earlier. It is basically Madara doesn't own Syndra, so he said, we're going to play Syndra, but we're just using Nunu to just kind of say lock in Syndra, in a sense. And that's going to be a Rumble top, and if anything, that is Pantheon mid lane, and that is going to be fun. Pantheon versus Syndra. How does that matchup go? I haven't seen much of Pantheon mid in quite a while, actually, and last time, more or less, I know Pantheon's been roaming the jungle. Like, he's been an absolute monster. He's a Pantheon in the jungle. And we saw, well, I believe it was Vengeance playing Pantheon back on Monday, and he was monstrous with that guy. Like, he ganked non-stop. He was 6-0 very early on in the game. And now he's been moved into the mid lane. That's an interesting...
Yeah, well, I mean, Pantheon in the mid lane, he is really quite, he can be very deadly. I mean, because he's just got that that passive, like he's strong in any lane really, where he can just take one of those tower shots, so he's ready to jump on and do a tower dive at any time once he's got strong. But he's got that stun, and if he can manage to just get out of the way of Syndra's skill shots just by picking up some boots kind of early in the game, then he's going to be able to just get around Syndra's skill shots, hopefully. And if he can jump on top of Syndra and land that stun, then Heartseeker Strike, chuck a spear at her, he doesn't really have any form of escape at all except for a flash. Because once she's popped that Scatter the Weak, I think it's called, where she pushes back, correct me if I'm wrong, but once she's used that, then she doesn't have any kind of get off me, go away, or I'm going to jump away from you, any kind of those abilities. So Pantheon can manage to get her to pop that ability when she's trying to do some kind of burst, and if he can like flash out of the way or jump to a minion and then dive onto her, then he's going to be able to possibly pick up a free kill or deal a lot of damage to her, force her to back or force her to sit underneath the tower until she regens up her health. So that could be quite deadly.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I gotta mention that I like about Pantheon is his roam potential, his gank potential at level 6 when he does get the man drop. The Grand Skyfall, he can simply gank any lane he chooses if he wants to catch on an enemy team. And with the likes of someone like Annie, who does have that AoE stun with Tibbers, with her E as well, or is it W? I believe her Molten Shield's E. So she can get the AoE stun on Graves and Thresh. You've got Jarvan coming in with the Cataclysm and Flag and Drag, but then also the Pantheon drop. And that could be nightmares and alarms ringing for Alter Ego. And this could even be the saving grace for Fluffy Waffles. Because in previous game, what kind of was their loss was they lost early game. And the snowball was just heavily in Alter Ego, especially in that bot lane. So they can't afford to give away and such an easy bot lane snowball towards Alter Ego yet again. Although there could be alarm bells for Fluffy Waffles.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I was just looking at Blue Team. That is Fluffy Waffles on Blue Team, that right? Yeah. And I was just looking at them, and once they get into the team fights in the late game, they can just pop all of their ultimates, and with such a really high amount of AoE, they can hopefully just destroy the entire team in just one hit. They've got a lot of damage there. They've got the Rumble ultimate damage over time. They've got the Jarvan Cataclysm, which can kind of hold them in place. Annie summoning Tibbers with the stun and just get them all in at once, all stunned. And then the Ezreal ultimate and Pantheon man dive. It's just going to be absolute desolation.
Yeah, absolutely. The AoE damage is quite absurd. In comparison to what their comp was in the previous game, this is a lot more well-rounded comp. They do have more of a frontliner, more of a team fight presence, not reliant on the likes of a Varus and the Jinx, which was what their comp was previously, but now they have a lot more of a rounded damage potential coming up from their team. One thing we have to also mention with the Jarvan pick, and a lot of people aren't aware of what Jarvan is like. Granted, he's a man of a champion as well, but the thing is, he's not a natural tank like Maokai, like the likes of Malphite and Amumu. He is quite squishy, and he doesn't become tanky unless he gets at least 1 to 2 tanky items. So if Jarvan decides to go for the, well, Chilling Smite, which is one of the most popular Smite upgrades for, I think it's a Stalker's Blade for junglers at the current patch, and he goes into Warriors Enchantment, and we saw this, I believe, on Monday as well. Jarvan can be obliterated instantaneously. Syndra, if she does have a lot of damage, or even Graves, if they do manage to get a small snowball coming out from their lanes, they can blow up Jarvan instantly. He's not the squishiest, he's not the tankiest of people, but he's also not that squishiest, but he's, again, not the tankiest. He needs some form of tanky items. If they can deny him building up, or at least deny a lot of gold, their frontline team coming out from Fluffy Waffles is very, very lackluster.
Yeah, especially considering Pantheon is going to need to be building some damage up in that mid lane. And if he is building tanky in that mid lane, first off, he's not going to be able to beat that Syndra. And second off, they don't really have that much magic damage, as you tend not to have that much magic damage. Although I say that, but Fluffy Waffles is bringing a lot of magic damage to the fight with Rumble, Ezreal, and Annie. And but yeah, they don't really have that much magic damage. It's going to be throwing them off, so he's going to have to be building that the damage in the lane. So they're going to need someone that can at least tanky. So if they can manage to stop Oven from getting gold, which Lee Sin can really be doing that, especially within the counter jungling and going and attacking him while he's in his jungle trying to farm, then that's going to be really quite a big shutdown, because Jarvan's not going to be able to gank any lanes because everyone's going to be so much stronger than him. He's not going to be tanky at all, so interesting to see what happens there.
Absolutely, and we did see Fluffy try to do a level 1 cheesy strat coming up from the bottom side of the river, coming up from the brush, and then try to get the blue, or at least get a kill, sneak kill, if Squidgy or Marta are going to exit, helping General with the early jungle start. Clearly didn't work out. The wards were already placed prematurely from Alter Ego. They were aware of what was happening, and, well, the buckshot to scare him all the way. So level 1 cheesy strat not working out for Fluffy Waffles. But we're seeing both junglers starting in the bottom, or the most right side, or eastern side of their camps. The Krugs for Vengeance, Grump for General, and this most likely will lead them to end their camps in the top lane. But interestingly enough, Oddly's doing the Raptors. What is the strategical decision behind starting Raptors, backing, and then coming to lane, in comparison to just giving away the free minions?
Well, I guess the Raptors do give more experience than what you could get from taking up some minions, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be spending a lot of time on the Raptors. So it may he would be finishes them kind of quickly. Then he'd be able to start off with an early level 2, possibly take out Syndra instantly, just dive on a Heartseeker strike and do a lot of damage straight up. But I'm worried that he's going to spend too much time on there because he doesn't have Smite, he doesn't have the machete, so he could be spending a bit too much time there and actually be at a bit of a disadvantage instead.
Yeah, Oddly did manage to get into lane with level 2, but Jazza was able to quickly equalize the level difference there in that top lane. In the mid lane though, Optimus and Combat trying to fill each other out, trying to find the who is the better man of the lane. Is it Syndra, the Dark Lord herself, or Mantheon himself, who loves to cook? We do see also Vengeance is chilling around in that mid lane. He hasn't been spotted by anyone. Actually, he has. So wards have been spotted Vengeance, and Optimus is actually playing quite smart, knowing that Vengeance was backing, and now it's starting to go a bit more aggressive. In the top lane, General is working on the Krugs. He's actually taken down to flashing red. He will be able to back away, and he's already got himself a 4 CS lead, but Vengeance got that chilling smite already.
Yeah, so looks like they both picked up the Chilling Smite, which is going to be quite useful for ganking lanes. So we're going to be seeing a lot of ganks coming out of here, and not very much farming. So I do really enjoy the Chilling Smite, how it almost works a bit like an exhaust, but without the damage reduction. So it's kind of like a double summon spell, like a 2-in-1 combo kind of thing there. So it's a really, really strong item at the moment, giving a lot of CC and gank potential within the champions. We do see 2 junglers coming into the mid lane right now.
Yeah, first is Vengeance, and now General for the counter gank. Unfortunately, Optimus is trying his best to survive. He's actually doing quite a lot of return damage. Vengeance will die from the flash auto attack from General. Now Sides is set onto combat. The chase is on. The camera is jumping all around because multiple fights are occurring at once. Now it's up in the top lane. Oddly is zoning away Jazzanite. And first blood for Alter Ego, already showing a bit of dominance in the early game.
Yeah, doing some straight up damage and going, we're gonna beat you in this game, and you're not gonna get gold. They're kind of going for the shutdown onto Jarvan, because if they can manage to push it back in the lane, they're not going to have anywhere near much strength. Looks like
the hill.
Waves.
Oh my lord, that hill. I've been baited by that hill so many times. I could have sworn that was Fluffy gonna get himself the redemption kill, trying to make up for what occurred in previous game in the laning phase for the bot lane. He's like, nope, I'm here now, this is my domain, I'm taking control, and the hill comes out to save Squidgy's life, barely. But we're already seeing a difference in that bot lane. Like I said, so in the previous one, Sarah on Jinx, they end up actually losing out that bot lane quite a lot. Corki just able to out-damage Jinx. But now it's Ezreal versus Graves. And Fluffy Cow, who was subbed in, maybe brings in a whole different dynamic of playstyle. Maybe he synergizes better with Hunter. But he's already giving another dominant performance on Ezreal, like on Monday, and showing well, I guess, the rest of the teams in the Arclight gaming round robin that he's an ADC to mess with, not someone you want to mess with. Force to be reckoned with. Oh, that's what I was trying to go for.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. So
I'm like, it's there, but then it's like, it's escaping me.
On the tip of your tongue, it's
Yeah.
sitting there.
It's sitting there, but finally came out in the end. So yeah, he's definitely becoming a force to be falling a bit behind, but he's got that Shane. Could that be a blue Ezreal? And what is the difference between blue Ezreal versus tri Ezreal in reality? Or not, who can forget about that? Combat does manage to man drop in. That was the stun from Hunter and Combat, the duo I was trying to mention. Combat does manage to pick up a kill. Meanwhile, Vengeance gets locked up. He will fall down. That's his second death of the game. He's not having a good time in both games either. And you mentioned before, if Jarvan is denied, and also we've talked about this, if Jarvan isn't able to get gold, isn't able to farm up at all, he can't become the frontliner that Fluffy Waffles need. And so they're doing the best they can, to basically just deny Fluffy Waffles their frontliner. And in the previous game, it was all on Jazzknight to be the frontliner, and he wasn't able to do it. Now it's all on Vengeance, and if he keeps falling behind, there's not much he can do. And Alter Ego definitely coming out ahead.
Yeah, they definitely are, but they should really keep an eye out on this Pantheon with his Mandai, where he can just gank any lane like he did in the bottom lane. He just went straight down the bottom, and he does off a lot of damage onto the towers, so they beat that tower down a lot. Already sitting on half health at 8 minutes, so we could see him go down, jump down into the bottom lane again, get 2-man ganks, so that's 4v2 in the bot lane, and that's a quite easy double kill straight there. So they do have to watch for these man dives coming down there. Syndra could just think, oh, he might be going down to the wall, but she does have to try and keep an eye on him and not try to go too close to the bush, because if he just walks to the bush, baits, and does a jump onto Syndra to just take her out. So there could be a lot of... Syndra's really got to keep the bottom bush warded for sure, which they do have a vision ward sitting down kind of far through down at the moment, so they're pretty safe at the moment, but
yeah, definitely. I know we do have a pause coming out. We do apologize for these pauses. Sometimes it does occur during these online tournaments where people do have some technical issues, and it shouldn't be too long. Already we're seeing a different kind of paced game in comparison to the first game. It's a lot more closer. We're seeing Fluffy Waffles though trying to hold it in, keeping the dream alive to not drop around. Because remember, guys, both these teams have yet to lose a round during this Arclight gaming round robin. So they're already 3-0, and to kind of go undefeated, if you could last undefeated, is quite a remarkable feat in itself. So they are trying to do their best they can, and we'll be able to get away from the pause right now. And the chase on the Squidgy, he should be able to get stunned by Hunter. No, he does dash away. General is here. The equalizer from Jasmine as well lands, but he falls down. Squidgy picks up the kill. Oddly's in the backline as well. Hunter taking his danger line. Molten Shield, no, he will fall. Arcane Smash picks that up. And now this is all in favor of Alter Ego. The chase is on. Oddly still going in, forcing the flash from Fluffy, but a great death sentence from Madara. Yet again, on point with those hooks. That's the 5th kill of the game, going towards Alter Ego. Sonic Wave of Vengeance, don't think they're going to follow it up, because Combat is right there to help out.
Yeah, well, they were not... I was not expecting that, especially with the teleport coming in from Maokai, just coming straight down in the ultimate and just going balls deep onto the... onto Fluffy Waffle, and just... decimate them. It might look like they're going to try and contest the dragon, but I'm not sure if there's anything they can do at the moment when they are really strong.
And we do see the Magi coming into the middle of the enemy team. He will fall down, so will Vengeance. And the dragon will also go down to Alter Ego, so it's actually a very good trade. Everything going in favor of Alter Ego. The True Shot Barrage will not snipe off anybody. They're all living with such low healths, all blinking red as well. But Alter Ego, we're mentioning how close this game was. All of a sudden, it's just back in the pockets of Alter Ego.
Yeah, they're just like it doesn't really matter at the moment right now how well they've been performing down in the bottom lane or how well anyone's performing because working so well as a team since the first second of the game. They've just been working so well together, and it's just, okay, we're going to work together, we're going to run around the map, we're going to just all gank lanes together and destroy the bot lane, then take Dragon, and they're already one Dragon up, which means that, well, they're going to have that attack damage and ability power boost, which isn't really useful now, but it will get really strong later on, and it is one step closer to getting the other buffs, like the 15% extra minion damage, which really helps with farming and pushing out lanes. So,
yeah, definitely. Now, Optimus is the next wave. General will soak up the Flying Dragon. He kicks away Vengeance, but he falls down. Combat picks up that kill right there. The chase is now onto Optimus. He's trying to find refuge with the Scuttlecrab. Save me, Scuttlecrab! Protect me! No, it's not enough! Scuttlecrab disobeys the leader and he gives him up. That is going to be Combat's second kill of the game, third kill of the game, sorry, double kill there. 3-7 overall in terms of kills, 3-1, all kills are on Combat. It will be looking to him to basically carry the mid game for Fluffy Waffles. And yes, they got first Dragon, and in the previous game they were able to have very good Dragon control. So it is on Alter Ego to maintain such Dragon control, to maybe even relive their Super Saiyan dreams yet again.
yeah, well, I mean, just then Fluffy Waffles just coming straight back for the comeback. Just like, I mean, it was unfortunate that the Pacifist of the Rift was not able to save Syndra, but Fluffy Waffles being able to just straight up take out that mid tower. I mean, they used their bottom tower with Ezreal kind of delaying them down there, but coming up and just sweeping out the mid lane, taking out Ezreal and Syndra, then taking out the middle tower, which is going to be a really big advantage because taking out that middle tower really increases the amount of pressure you have on in the game because it's probably the most important tower in the game to take out.
Yeah, absolutely, and unfortunately it does lead to the death of Hunter. Hunter falls down in the top lane, Hardly taking a lot of damage. The Heartseeker managed to penetrate those defenses of Maokai. He falls down. In the mid lane, Tier 1 falls as well, so it's the second tower of the game going towards Alter Ego, but it's a 2-2 tower advantage, even out for both teams. And now the push is onto Fluffy Cow. He has been stunned up by Optimus. He's got completed balls. If the Unleash the powers on him, Heal's forced out of Fluffy Cow as well. And interesting little battle right there. It nearly went into Fluffy Cow's favor as well as Optimus. Both barely surviving the Lancet saving Optimus as well. And this is a top tier 1 turret falling in favor of Fluffy Waffles. And this is a different game altogether in comparison to the first game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like Fluffy Waffles, like for the first 8, 9, 10 minutes, they were just a little bit off point and not really cooperating as strongly as what their team name is. Oh god, I've forgotten their name. Please help.
Alter Ego?
Yes, that's the one. Alter Ego. They weren't working as strongly together as what Alter Ego were, and
Yeah,
now
definitely.
they've just started to just work together, and they just cycle up mid, and they take out the middle tower, then they go up top, and they take the top tower. I mean, they did get a bit of damage onto their middle tower, and Ezreal almost died, and they lost their bottom tower, but it's just these kind of things where it's like, oh, you're down there, I'm gonna go and do this and take out this objective. And it does look like that. God, Alter Ego, that's the name, Alter Ego. It does look like Alter Ego are going in for another dragon, and Fluffy Waffles really want to contest this because 2 dragons up is a massive advantage.
Yeah, but a great stun coming out from Optimus picks up 2. In fact, Combat S gets blown up instantaneously. Optimus proving who's the bigger man. Finally, in that mid lane, in the top lane, Jazza and Ollie, the battle of Behemoth doesn't end. Started in game 1, has yet to finish. Hunter gets insect as well. He, in fact, still lived for quite a while. He does end up falling, but without taking the general with him. Now it's on Optimus. He gets trapped in a cataclysm and a turnaround fight. But here comes the same thing, Squidgy! He's coming, he's avenging his teammates! He should be able to get on the Fluffy Cow. Fluffy Cow trying to save his life, he blinks over to the wall. Optimus, no! He misses the Scatter of the Week! And Fluffy Cow will live. That's a 2-for-2 exchange. For both teams, actually. So no one actually coming out ahead, as no objectives have been taken just yet. Or was that a 2-for-3? I'm not too sure, but Fluffy Cow will end up falling eventually to the wolves. No, we're not. What is Fluffy Cow doing? That's it. He's given up to life. He's like, I surrender. Squidgy, take me. And Squidgy gets his 5th kill of the game.
Yeah, he is getting really big at the moment. I mean, sitting 100 CS as well, almost the biggest in the game, just behind Syndra and Rumble. He is really, really big, already with the Infinity Edge. I'm hoping to see another BF sword item come out from him sometime soon, preferably a Bloodthirster, and just watch those box shots do so much damage, because once he gets a lot of attack damage, he's just unstoppable. It doesn't really matter how strong your team is, because Graves has so much damage that, especially with Jarvan not really having any gold and unable to really tank up a lot of this damage, because he still doesn't have any items that are able to assist him in tanking, except for that Null Mantle cloak. So
yeah, definitely.
It looks like we're going for a contest for the dragon, but it's kind of just a walking around, nothing's really happening at the moment.
Yeah, at the current moment, the wards from Alter Ego are able to know exactly the presence and positioning of Fluffy Waffles. So it's not like Alter Ego aren't aware of what is occurring. But we gotta also keep in mind, Combat Airs has been very aggressive with those man drops. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just randomly decides, I'm just gonna jump in the middle of them, guys. Follow up with me. And most likely, Vengeance and Jazza will follow up, so will Hunter. They will follow up on their teammates. They've proved to have very good team synergy. It was evident in the previous game, okay, granted their team comp didn't really work out in the end, but they still managed to work it out. Dragon has done, and exactly what I was talking about, that was a 4-man Timber stun! An amazing wombo combo coming out of Fluffy Waffles! Amazing 4-man stun from Hunter, and they just clean up! That is a 4-for-none exchange, and Dragon still went towards Alter Ego, but who cares when you pick up 4 kills for nothing?
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to go take out this inner tower, which is one of the stronger towers in the game with the shield. And one of the harder towers to break, especially if there's enemies nearby. They may get some more damage onto the inhibitor tower, but hopefully they don't stay too long, because we do see Alter Ego coming down right now, which they have already left, and Ezreal getting a bit of damage down onto the bottom tower. He is being pinged though.
Yeah, definitely. So, and where was this Fluffy team in the previous game? It looked as though they were completely demoralized going in towards the end of the game. It was a very hard grueling. They tried to claw back up in the first game, and then it just didn't look that way. Alter Ego had all the, well, I guess they just had the confidence of going into the second game, and then all of a sudden, a 4-man Tibbers ultimate into the man drop, into the cataclysm, into the freaking Rumble ultimate. What on earth? Don't forget the True Shot Rush. I have never seen, and we're just talking about how synergized that team is. They're very coordinated, and they're just proving it right now.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about, like, in the pre-game lobby, how strong the wombo combo of Fluffy Waffles is going to be, because once they let off, no health left on Alter Ego's side. It doesn't matter like how tanky you get, unless everyone buys a Zonya's Hourglass or a Guardian's Angel, but I don't see that happening. And it's just they're doing so much damage with their whole synergy combo going on here, and I'm really enjoying this game, to be honest.
Absolutely, it's a lot much closer and a lot more intense in the previous game. In the previous game, it was, I believe, 20-4. It was the kills, or 20-7, 20-8, or something like that. It was a huge discrepancy in the kills. and it was heavily in favor of Alter Ego. They were up in gold, they were up in objectives, they were 3-0 in dragons. It was just absolutely in their lead. Alright, granted, Fluffy was slowly clawing back, or, well, it wasn't even, I guess you can't even say clawing back. They were just delaying the inevitable. And it showed that they could still try and play from behind, but it was just all in favor of Alter Ego. And so going again into second game, due to confidence levels, you'd think Alter Ego might have a lot more stronger performance, but Fluffy Waffles, whatever they did to somehow talk their team back up, could have been the substituting, adding in Fluffy Cow. Maybe he's the main inspiration for the team. He could be the shot caller for all we know, but something changed, and now we're seeing a lot more stronger team, better calls, better judgment. The drafting phase is a lot stronger too, and this has now become a very intense top of the table matchup. Again, these teams haven't lost any rounds yet, and this is why. I think this is a very good reason as to what we could see in the finals later on in, well, 10 weeks time. Or 8 weeks time.
Yeah, however many weeks it is, but yeah, they are performing really, really well, and I did want to talk about items a little bit, although it looks like there's a big engage coming down onto J4.
General does follow, but the Baron! What a spawn from the Baron! He's like, I'm gonna help you, Vengeance! Don't worry, he knocks up the General, he gets away, but meanwhile in the top lane, we can't forget the dual stylings of Combat and Hunter. We're able to pick up a kill on the Squidgy, and it's gonna give, I think that went away to Combat as well. That's his 5th kill of the game. If not, it went to Hunter, that's his 2nd kill of the game. Either way, they're getting kills, they're doing good for their team. The anti-pick, I'm absolutely loving. The Tibbers have been on point, the stunts have been on point, the coordination is always very good, the communication is to a T. And Fluffy Waffles are definitely not out of it, but nor are Alter Ego. You can't just completely knock them out of the park. We saw it in the previous, I think it was 2 team fights ago, that it looked to be in favor of Fluffy, but then all of a sudden it turned and Alter Ego took charge of that team fight. So Alter Ego aren't out of it just yet. If Cinder can blow up a, well, worthy target, like if she can blow Fluffy Cow, or if they just don't remain group up so that Wombo Cobra doesn't happen anymore, then by all means Alter Ego could potentially win. It's not anyone's game just yet, so no one's in the commanding lead just yet. But it's a lot closer than last game.
And with only a 2,000 gold lead, and Alter Ego do have the 2 dragons ahead, so they do have the extra 15% bonus to minions and monsters. So it will be easier for them to get future dragons, and it will be easier to push out lanes and CS. But yeah, so it's really, really, really tight at the moment. And I wanted to just talk a bit about like how Ezreal's picked up that Trinity Force instead of going for the Iceborne Gauntlet and the tear and all that kind of thing, and instead of going blue buff, so he's playing it safer. I'd like to say.
So it's the Triforce real build.
Dealing a lot more damage, and while the Gauntlet does allow him to kite easier, and it does allow him to just slow down enemies and pretty much just lock them down, able to just beat them up while they're trying to run away, but they're stuck. So I am liking the Trinity Force, while Iceborne probably could. It's better and it's worse because it is 75% less damage than the 200% bonus that the Trinity Force gives. Also, the Rumble key item that I'm pretty sure everyone starts with, the Liandry's Torment. That flat magic penetration is really, really strong early on in the game, and especially against the minions with his flamethrower, where he's able to just do a lot of damage because it is really small amounts of damage, but really, really quickly. So flat magic penetration, or any magic penetration at all, and especially flat in early game, is going to be really, really helpful for him, and it has looked like it's been very successful. Sitting on very close to him, he was on the most CS in the game until that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing Fluffy now finally get themselves onto the dragon. It was actually well timed. Alter Ego were nowhere in position for that dragon. And for the first time in 2 games, Fluffy secure themselves a Dragon Stack and a much needed one as well. The first stack, as you mentioned, it's the increased percentage boost of 18 AP by 6. So percentage boost, it's not early game, it's a much better stat for later game when you actually have items. So a lot better for the later games. And the second stack, you did the Invisi. It's increased damage to turrets and structures. The fourth one is the increased to minion damage.
Really?
You did it in Invisi, and I'm calling it the Invisi because Invisi did that, I think, on Monday, and it was hilarious. Or was it on the previous Monday? Yeah, so Invisi did that, and it was quite funny. So they got these seconds. They will be able to do increased damage on the turrets if they can get on structures.
They're gonna be able to destroy the.
But the flash tip is on Optimus. The ignite tick isn't going to be enough. He's forced to Zonia's. Now Ollie's taking dangerously low. The mystic shot. No, he still lives. Where's the true shot barrage? It's nearly off cooldown. The man shot picks up the kill in the end. Combat going so deep. He's now on to Oddly. In fact, he'll better get the kill. Oh my god, Oddly is so low. True shot barrage. No, it's not going to be enough. This ignite kill that picks it up instead. Oh my lord, the damage. The balls deep plays. Now a general falls down. Phoenix gets hooked. He flashes away. Martyr is the next target for Fluffy Waffles. And Fluffy Waffles proving that Game 1 never existed in their minds. This is a whole new game, a whole new ball game, and it's their game for sure.
Yeah, taking up their 5th tower and leaving the top tower very, very badly bruised and battered. They are really taking the lead. It doesn't matter that they lost the 2 dragons now. They are just going for it. It doesn't matter that Jarvan died twice at the start of the game because they are really, really picking up their pace and working together as a team. I don't know what it is. It might be the Ezreal. It might be just the fact that they are really desperate to win right now, but they're doing really, really well at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know what happened in the Fluffy locker rooms or something. Whatever they talked about, if they have the coach, whatever he managed to get into their minds, they've definitely turned it up this game, bringing a lot stronger performance, a lot more riskier plays. And now they're setting up again. Hunter does have the stun built up. Tibbers is nearly off cooldown as well. Teleport is from Jazz, despite the fact that he's quite far away from his team. He can always join at a moment's notice with that teleport at hand. And whatever they did, they've definitely turned it up, and it's starting to look like it's becoming their game. They've won the past 2 team fights, 3-ish team fights. They're coming out ahead in damage. They're landing their abilities. Combat as his man drops have just been so deep, and he'll just go right into the enemy. Like, he'll just drop into 4 enemies at once, and he won't care. And I absolutely love that. Now we even see them going back to that top lane yet again, trying to reciprocate it. Optimus stuns up Hunter. Hunter actually taking down a half hour. There's going to be quite careful. That tower is quite low, so he will not stand if the siege comes on. Static Shift being bought by Squidgy will help with the minion clear as well. So I actually do like that buy coming out from Squidgy. But, man, this is definitely a better game 2 compared to game 1.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, I only saw the last part of it, but they were really, really dominating. And it almost looks like they're really getting ready to take up that Baron, especially when they were hanging around it before, just sitting up in the tri-bush, getting ready for some kind of ambush, or sitting down the Baron pit, like warding it, clearing it out full of wards. So Alter Ego have no vision on Dragon right now. And Fluffy Waffles have the entire area cleared out, full of wards, all lit up. It's looking like a Christmas tree. They got vision wards, they got sight wards, stealth wards. They got the whole thing, and it's looking like they're ready to go for that Baron. And as soon as they can manage to do some kind of team fight and take out at least Lee Sin from Alter Ego, they just need to take out Lee Sin or a couple of team members just so that they can do that Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting another pause right here, but definitely a better game. I wouldn't be surprised if a Baron attempt comes out in the near future. We saw it, I believe, from Alter Ego earlier on and whatnot. So, guys, we're just having a pause. If you're just joining us, this is round 4 of the Arclight Gaming Round Robin. This is game 2 of a best of 3 between Alter Ego and the Fluffy Waffles, both teams who have yet to drop a single game. Sorry, not a single game, a single round so far. 3-0 is the dream. One of them is trying to make it 4-0. The other one will go home crying, sad, not living up to the undefeated streak.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what's going to be going on, and just see if Fluffy Waffles can come back and take this game back from Alter Ego and earn their reputation back and really put themselves back into the competition. Although they have already gone 3-0, which is better than a few people have already done. So they are already in a quite high position inside the tournament. If they can manage to go for a 2-1 or even a 1-2, then it's going to be helping them out. They just need to be able to get at least one game in there, because they did get absolutely destroyed by Alter Ego there. I'm not sure where Jester's headed off to.
I do apologize for that, guys. I thought I smelled something burning, so I had to quickly check that out. It turns out somebody burnt the popcorn.
Oh, not the popcorn!
Not the popcorn! How could you?
For our movies!
Where are they? I demand refund! It was unfortunate. And you know what's... no, here's the worst part. It was my batch too.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Your batch.
It was my batch specifically. So they burnt one batch and they're just like, oh, it's Mr. Jester's. Yeah, that's his for sure. I'm like, oh, come on! That guy sucks. And when we're back into the game, I'm now on conflicting emotions, bit sad from the popcorn, but a lot of excitement for this game. I'm hoping deep inside me for a game 3. That's what I want, and I'll definitely make up for the popcorn incident. So I'm hoping for a game 3, but it's still not over yet for Alter Ego. They can definitely close this out, come out 2-0, and prove to be the stronger of the teams. And I'll be stuck by myself now because I believe I might have the popcorn incident, but Harry had the internet incident. So now it's just going to be me for a bit, guys. Stick with the solo casting. Jazza does get engaged. It's a 3-man engage. He does use these Zonyas, but a very well-placed ultimate as well. Equalizer will be able to get them all down to half health. He will fall eventually, though, so Oddly picks up that kill. That's his second of the game. The rest of his team, it was a sacrifice worth it. They are able to get the dragon. That's the second stack of dragon going towards Fluffy Waffles. If anything, I'm cool with that, guys. It's a good strategy. You sacrifice one for everyone else to benefit. They got the dragon off, and they're denying dragon stack towards Alter Ego. And welcome back. I guess someone burnt your internet connections. They burned my popcorn.
Yeah,
they burned your
internet
internet connections.
I don't know what happened there. But, yeah, my internet just dropped out. It wasn't that. It's just my computer disconnected from the network. So
yeah, that is unfortunate.
that
We're also
was
seeing a great play coming out from Fluffy. They managed to blow up Madara. Squidgy was able to survive with the sliver of health as well, down to half health, simply because combat jumped upon him. This is a whole different game. Again, like we mentioned in the first game, it was a one-sided affair for Alter Ego. Now it's in the pockets of Fluffy. And despite them having a very good early lead, they're starting to get more objectives. Like they're starting getting more dragons. They've gotten the middle and bot lane outer and inner turret. They've still got one more turret left before they can go like in the top lane. That's the inner one. They should probably still pressure for more team fights, if anything. They're stronger in the team fights. Their comp works so well together. They have to pressure more of these fights. Ezreal has got his Blade and Rocking. He's got the Truffles. Okay, granted, he's not going to be critting like Squidgy on Graves. But if they can blow him up, they can blow Optimus up. Who's left on the side of Alter Ego to do damage? Oddly, who's a tank? General? He's got Random of his own. Okay, he can try and do a bit of damage, but not as much. Madara? I mean, like, if they can blow up Optus and Squidgy, then it's all good. Whereas on the side of Fluffy, the damage potential isn't just on the mid lane and ADC. The support does damage because the support got Rabadons. The top laner can do damage. Hell, even the jungler does damage. Everybody on the side of Fluffy does damage. Whereas the main damage concept coming from Alter Ego is the mid lane and jungler again. So why not pressure this? Why not go in for these big team fights? They've worked before. They can surely work again. Oh, that was to you.
The biggest problem with that right now is that the fact Sin and Maokai and Thresh all have a great amount of peel that they can bring up. So if they can manage to just protect Syndra from that massive Wombo combo that comes out, then they'll be fine. Even if it involves popping out a was it Dragon's Rage or something? Yeah, Dragon's Rage, or chucking at the like Thresh's ultimate or Flay, just in order to save your main damage dealers, because Graves is still doing a lot of damage, even though he still hasn't gotten any kills since the start of the laning phase, where he did go 5 for 0. Or was it 5 for 1? I don't know. It was one of those.
It was a 4 for 0 in
really
one
strong,
team fight,
and he's
yeah.
still pretty strong. Even though I haven't seen, doesn't really have lifesteal yet, which is a bit of a worry for an 80 carry.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing in the...
still waiting to see this Baron come out. Oh, happened. What's happened?
I think somebody's starting to burn your connection yet again. We do see in the bot lane, Jazza is now pushing out of the bot lane. The only one being distracted is Optimus, and that's actually a good thing, because Optimus doesn't have tower, Jazza does. But look at the smart play from Fluffy. They're on Baron. There is dropping so quickly. They will take Baron without any contestation. No, again, sorry. I lost the word. It's on the tip of my tongue. Contestant. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. They have great ward placement. Oh gosh, the burning is getting to me, the fire. So, it was very well played coming out from Fluffy Waffles. Definitely well calculated. Had the ward placement out. Knew exactly what to do. They even distracted somebody who couldn't get into the fight. Only Jazza could because of the teleport. And now they're definitely in the driver's seat. They've got the Baron, and the sieging can definitely improve. It works well. You've got poke a bit from Fluffy Cow on the Ezreal with his Mystic Shots. You also have Jazzanite. He can drop down the Equalizer to simply scare away the likes of Alter Ego from a turret in order to get the tower if they need be.
Yeah, well, I mean, all they really need to do right now, Waffles, is just to win the game. All they really need to do is just take out one of those inhibitors. I mean, while taking Baron buff before you get an inhibitor isn't really the greatest, because you don't have those super buff super minions, but it is still really, really strong. And getting all of the minions, I think the reduced damage from towers, like what the siege minions have. Let me just click on a minion and find out. I don't think they do. They might, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. We are seeing a 1-3-1 split push tactic coming out from Fluffy, a bit different to what Alter Ego did in the previous game. They went 4-1. It is kind of working out if Jazza is able to get all the minions pushing up and onto the inhibitor turret, so you have all 3 lanes hitting onto those inhibitor turrets. The Canyon minions will be able to do damage over time, and it actually will start hurting, especially since the fact is they are outside the range of the inhibitor turrets as well. So if anything, they should be able to get damage onto the inhibitor turrets, split off the team Alter Ego. But Hunter flashes it onto Optimus. He gets blown up. That's 2 ultimates, 3 ultimates, coming out 4 ultimates, because Combat's now balls deep in. Cataclysm locking in nobody except his own teammate Jazza. He does use his Sonias as well, and this is actually a fight turning in favor of Alter Ego. The turnaround is real. The death sentence does miss. That's a double kill, going out for Oddly, and a bit of overkill, if you will, with the True Shot Barrage, the Pantheon Ultimate, just for Optimus. He was instantly blown up by Tibbers and Equalizer, and the rest was just simply overkill. and it might have cost them at least an inhibitor turret, but they managed to get the third dragon of the game, which is actually quite good for themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the fact that Maokai's ultimate is able to give all of his teammates who are standing inside that range a 20% damage reduction, and that is a lot of damage reduction because